These mics on?
Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence for our troops overseas and in the United States. Thank you. Just wanted to good evening, folks. This Thursday, September 5th, 2024, Board of Supervisors meeting. Welcome to the folks at home, folks that are here. Would like to let you know that we had an executive session. We discussed litigation, real estate, and labor negotiations. Okay, at this time, we're going to have a presentation. First up. Okay, back up a little bit. Okay, supervisors' comments. Janice, would you like to start? Thanks, Ken.
I'd be happy to start. It's exciting to see everyone here. I'm so glad that the weather's finally broken. It's a perfect time for kids to go back to school. Don't you agree? Yay! But with that being said, please be careful as you're driving. There's been a lot of speeding going around throughout the township. I need you guys to kind of lay off the gas pedal a little bit. Be mindful of the little kids because they are not paying attention, but keep an eye out. But please be careful. The speed limits are posted. Our police officers are doing a great job now writing tickets if you're speeding, so please be careful. Hint, hint. Thank you.
Chuck?
I got no announcements at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
No announcements.
Mr. Hayes?
I just have one announcement that I know there's been some talk about Parks and Rec permits, and one of them was the Wounded Warriors. And I just want to say that I spoke to Brian Monroe. I already had this taken care of, but I spoke to Brian Monroe, and I'm happy to say that Brian Monroe and myself are going to pay the $25 permit fee, and then we will also pay the additional costs,
Which is up to 15.
which is up to $1,500. That's correct. And I'm proud to do that because I stand not behind the Wounded Warriors, but I stand with them, shoulder to shoulder. I'm proud that my father served in World War II. I'm proud that my uncles and great uncles served in World War II. My brother served in the Navy, and I lost a great uncle, excuse me, in World War II. I never got to meet him. I heard he was a great man. So, you know, I heard about some comments about political stunts. I think it's a disgrace that somebody would stand behind servicemen and women who were wounded in battle, serving our country as Americans. And I'm happy to support them. And
Are we talking about Warminster Day?
no, I'm not talking about Warminster Day. I'm talking about the Wounded Warrior event that we're having.
5K.
So 5K, right. So we're not to, you know, who do we decide who's worthy of paying permits and who's not? Bottom line is, everybody pays a permit. And we can't, you know, our children with cancer, or they have to pay a permit, but you don't, or this organization or that. Every one of them is worthy and do a great job and serve our community and residents. So to turn it into political stunts or political fodder is a disgrace. So I'm happy to pay the permit fee and pay the additional costs, as is Brian Monroe, who is a military veteran as well. He served in the Navy as well. I don't even want to get into any more of it because it's very
Emotional.
You know, it is emotional. You know, anytime somebody tries to make political fodder out of servicemen and women is absolutely a disgrace. So
Thank you, Mr. Hayes.
That's all I
And
had to say.
when I originally heard about this, I had called Mr. Hayes because we had made a decision as a supervisory board that we were no longer waiving fees, because how do you determine who is the most worthy organization? If you have a child and they are autistic or they're special needs, are they any more or less worthy than any other organization? So because of that, I called him and he stepped right up to the plate, him and Brian. I thought it was very noble, because the ones that were speaking up the loudest, I didn't see them opening up their pocketbooks. So thank you very much, Mr. Hayes.
My pleasure. And by the way, here's the list of all the other organizations that have paid their permit fees. and the additional costs without complaint. So, I mean, there's a laundry list, and, you know, and this is another reason why this township was financially troubled, because, you know, we randomly just waive fees for, you know, anyone and everyone. And, you know, the parks serve for the community, and also there's a cost involved to the township, and these fees help keep the parks safe and usable and enjoyable for all our residents. So I'm happy to do it.
Thank you, Mr.
And so is
Hayes.
Brian Monroe.
Very well said, and thank you, Mr. Brian Monroe, also.
And I'd like to comment on that also. I appreciate you speaking up and saying how this should not be a political thing. We are public servants up here, and we represent everyone in our township.
That's right. And
It's not a
patriotism-
Republican thing, it's not a Democrat thing. We're here for everyone, and I'm glad to see that we realize the importance of this program and why that you guys
And
stepped
thank
in.
you for saying that, Janice, because, you know, I kind of left that out, but patriotism is not parties.
Correct.
It's Americans. And it belongs to America and the Americans who live here and serve, and proudly serve our nation and fight for our values and our beliefs. And I'm proud of them, every one of them that serves, you know, and unfortunately, people get wounded. It's a tragic thing, and I support them as well.
And I'm going to put my pennies in for that as well. Not
you.
necessarily pennies, but you know what I mean.
Thank
You know
you.
what I mean, yes.
Very well said, Mr. Hayes, and I have no comments at this time.
Can I talk? Can I do my comments?
Certainly. I'm giving you an exception to the rule, but because you're Bobby Loftus, you get away with
No,
it.
it's announcements.
No, I know.
It's announcements.
Teasing.
I just want to remind everybody that the school taxes are due on Monday, which is not the normal day. I realize that. You can't believe how many people call and tell me, do you know the taxes aren't due till the 9th? Yeah, I do. So Saturday, I will be open from 9 to 12, and then Monday, I'll be open from 9 to 5:30. And that's the last day to pay your taxes before it goes, you lose your 2% discount. As far as the township and county goes, we're doing really well. When I handed in my reports for the county, they have me at 99% collected. And I had 7 people pay this week. So we're really doing well with that.
Great.
Thank you so much.
That being said, Ken, my brother was killed in Vietnam. So I would like to take that bill, whatever it is, and cut it in thirds. Brian can pay a third, you pay a third, and I'll pay a third.
Well, thank you, Bobby. I
Make it
appreciate
for us.
that.
Remember, I'm
That's-
putting my pennies in
You know,
too.
because
Wonderful.
he was 19 years old when he was killed in Vietnam. And
I remember that because I was, I was probably, you know, in my early teens, and I remember all my brother's friends coming home and body bags were made, and I don't forget that.
no, me either,
Right.
okay?
Well, thank you, Bobby. That's very generous of you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. All right, this time we're going to have presentations. Pennsylvania Birdtown Program with John McGee and Heidi Shriver. Welcome.
Thank you. One of the best things that's happened at the EAC for a while is that we were accepted into the Pennsylvania Birdtown program, and Heidi Shriver has come here today to make a presentation, and we're hopefully going to get a photo with the committee. 2 of the members of the Birdtown Committee are here today, and we're hoping to get a photo after the presentation. Heidi.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much
Welcome.
for being here and inviting me to speak, and congratulations for becoming a bird town. So
Very exciting.
I'm here to just share a few, a little bit of information about the program, and just so you're aware about the program, what it's all about. So I won't take too much time, but I do have a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so I have the clicker here. So again, my name is Heidi Shriver, and I'm Birdtown, Pennsylvania Board President. So our mission is Birdtown, Pennsylvania works in partnership with local municipalities like yourselves and like-minded organizations to promote community-based conservation actions to create a healthier, more sustainable environment for birds, wildlife, and people. We've been actively engaged in the state for over 14 years, working and engaging with municipalities, and there's actually now 68 programs in 12 counties. We just had 3 more this week, so the program is really growing. We are under the umbrella of the Pennsylvania Audubon Council, and we're partnering with various conservation groups, including We Conserve PA, which runs the EAC network for the state, Audubon chapters, and Bird City Network. Bird City Network is an international network that we're part of. There are bird cities throughout the country in Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, and so on. This is all the different bird towns in the area and throughout the state. And I have Warminster highlighted there in Bucks County. So there's quite a few bird towns also in Bucks County. And we look forward to working with all of you. A little bit about PA Audubon Council. There are 20 Audubon chapters in the state. The purpose of the council is to provide resources, sharing resources and ideas, and addressing conservation issues. Through the network, that's how we're establishing bird towns across the state. So why are we focusing on birds? I'm not going to go through the whole list really carefully, but birds keep our ecosystems running smoothly. They're very important to our ecosystem. For example, crows and vultures scavenge carcasses, reducing diseases such as rabies, distemper, and plague. This is really an issue. Vultures in India had died because there was a particular medication that was given to the cattle there, and their populations plummeted, and because of that, plague came back. And so those actually the populations haven't rebounded at all, so they still have a huge issue there. So they are really important. They also disperse seeds and provide pollination services. And like hawks and owls, they help keep our mice and rat populations down. I'm going to just skip down to the end though, but birds really need our help. Breeding bird surveys show populations have declined ranging anywhere from 30 to 77%, and their numbers are still falling. So what we're doing here for Birdtown is super important. Oops, sorry. I'll just give you a couple examples here. This is grassland birds. They really suffer because of loss of habitat. And I include here the Baltimore Oriole because they're migrating through right now. It's migratory season right now. They started on August 15th. They'll go through October. And they're really struggling because of loss of habitat. These are the major threats to bird populations. Like I mentioned, loss of habitat. There's 40 million acres of lawns in the U.S., with 2 million here in Pennsylvania. Lawns provide really little services for birds. There's no food, there's no shelter. Cats are also a huge problem. 2.4 billion birds are killed a year by cats. Wow. Window collisions are an issue, pesticides, climate change, like we know. Invasive species replace native plantings that are needed for food, shelter, and nesting. And then, of course, plastics.
This one's a cut.
So what we do is we address these issues through engagement, education, encouragement, support, inspiration, and promoting awareness. These are some examples of what a bird town can do. There's actually hundreds of things a bird town can do, but these are examples of what can be done here in Warminster. Anywhere from installing demonstration native plant, pollinator, or rain gardens, helping reduce bird window strikes and pesticide use, working with schools to engage and educate about these issues, and so on. So what we provide for your municipality is a statewide structured program with congruous goals. We offer concrete resources and achievable actions, and a framework for community networking with other bird towns and other conservation partners. We give training and workshops for free for our bird town leaders, and then also working together, we have more opportunities and success in obtaining funding. This is our website. It has a rich array of resources, our list of our conservation partners and our bird towns. You're included on that list as well now. And then there's a special back page on Your Bird Town that gives you lots of more access to contact lists, resources, and information. We also have several touch points with our bird towns. We have a bird town flyer that's meant just for our bird town leaders to give them information about the program and what other bird towns are doing. Bird Beat is a quarterly community e-newsletter to inspire and inform our residents about actions that they can take to support birds and wildlife. And then find the Bird Town Forum. This is a private Facebook page where the leaders can share upcoming events and read inspirational materials. So we also have regional networking. It's really important for us to come together in person and talk about what we're doing, and then also talk about what we can do on a regional level. So obviously you're in Bucks County, so we've met several times already. It's a great group of people. I'm in Doylestown Township. I'm on the EAC and also the Bird Town coordinator there as well. So I'll be looking forward to meeting with your Bird Town committee members as well. We're organized by 5 strategy areas just to make sure that all bird towns are working across the community, not just focusing on one thing. And it's a 4-tiered program, so all bird towns start at the green level. You're at the green level right now, and we really hope that you'll move up to the next level of bronze, silver, and gold, depending on how much energy and interest there is, and we'll do everything we can to help you achieve that. We have a goals and activities worksheet that we encourage our bird town committees to use for inspiration and guidance. And they'll have a copy of that. They'll be working through that. Oops, sorry. So this is the welcome packet. These are all the different things that you receive. So tonight you'll be receiving 2 street signs and a certificate. And then I'll be meeting with Amy, who's part of the committee next week, and her committee to share all the additional resources. So I just want to say congratulations, Warminster Township. You're number 58, and I'm really excited for you to be part of the program. So congratulations.
Thank you. Does anyone on the board have any comments or questions?
Yeah, if I may,
Sure,
Madam
Mr.
Chair.
Hayes.
I remember when I was chair of the EAC here, we had just gotten started, and I'm really thrilled that I've seen it come to fruition, and we still have a way to go. But one of the things that people on the board here were surprised with is how many feral cats kill birds. But I don't know if anyone's ever seen the migratory birds come across the Gulf of Mexico, and when they land in Florida and all the Gulf,
Texas, yeah.
they are emaciated. There's just feathers and bones, and we keep building resorts, and there's no food for them, and they have to fly further inland, and it's killing millions of them.
It is, it's tough.
And then, I don't know if everyone's been to Toronto, but during the migratory season, there's thousands of them laying all around in the sidewalks, and even in Philadelphia to an
They are,
extent.
they absolutely.
Yeah,
is.
there's a lot of different ways we interfere with, you know.
With migration, for
with
sure.
migration,
And Bucks County
yeah.
actually is a really huge migratory throughway. We had over 3 million birds passing over Bucks County
Yeah.
this past week.
And
So
and
it's
I
really
have to say,
important.
one last thing.
Sure, of
that
course.
I think Tim Hagee was with me when we were golfing about a month ago or whatever it was, and we were over at Five Ponds, and I saw a Baltimore Oriole fly right
that's
by
great.
me. I was thrilled because it was the first one I've seen in Warminster ever, in
Wow.
25
But
years.
They're around, they're nesting around.
Yeah.
They really are, they're around.
Yeah,
That's
so it's
fantastic.
great that we're participating.
Great, thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate your support.
We're very excited, and we have so many people in Warminster love the birds.
Good.
I'm sorry, Janice, were you saying something?
No,
No.
I was just saying how beautiful.
Oh, okay. Anybody else have any other comments or anything?
Are we going to have to reserve time for the cats at the next meeting?
Okay, Tom, I'll make sure I'll put that on the agenda.
Indoor cats are great.
Rebuttal from the cats?
It's just, really just educating people.
Can't prove it.
It's just really educating people about cats and what they can do to keep them more indoors. It's better for the cats as well. I'm a cat owner myself. I love cats, but it's important for them to stay in as well. It's safer for them too. But I would love for all the supervisors to come forward for a photo if they don't mind. If y'all don't mind, and we can have the Birdtown Committee come forward too, and we'll take a photo with the street
Sure,
signs if that's
sure.
okay.
Okay, let's take a couple minutes recess. All right, next on the agenda is Warminster Day, Cha-Cha Truck, and we have Jessica Fox, our Parks and Recreation Director. Thank you. Yay! Woo-hoo! So fun here.
This.
Yeah, so we have Warminster Day coming up, which is our favorite event. Last year we combined it with Touch a Truck, which was a huge success, so we are doing that again this year. We do still have some vendor spaces and some sponsorships available, but get those in quickly because we'll start to print our materials pretty soon. So in addition to adding Touch a Truck, we're going back to live music this year, which we're really excited about. Yes, and we'll have a open air stage instead of going into this small tent, so it'll be nice. The music should float throughout the whole event. We're also adding mini golf this year and a couple other small events throughout the event. So come on out on September 28th. From 11 to 3 at Warminster Community Park, and usually for special events we tell you to enter from Bristol Road, from the Bristol Hatboro Road entrance. Anyone who was there last year knows that we were pretty full on both sides, so please feel free to come in Bristol Road or use the regular parking lots coming in off of Veterans Way. Either one is fine, and we expect that we'll fill both, not both, but all 5 parking lots on that day. So please use both entrances to kind of take care of that traffic problem that we have. And then we also, if I may, have our annual golf scramble coming up. So that is Friday, September 20th. We are doing well there on both sponsors and golfers, but we do have a couple more spots. Again, if you want to get into any of the marketing materials, we do recommend that you get your sponsorships in quickly, but we'll take golfers right up until the end as long as we have room. So we're really excited about these 2 events and some more things coming down the pike. I also wanted to remind people the times are changing. It's getting dark earlier, so please keep in mind that all of our parks, unless you are on a permitted lit sports field that you have a permit for, The parks, all of them, close at dusk. So please make sure that you are out of the parks by dusk, or else our police department might come and remind you gently. So
Well put, Jess.
I think that's all I have. Anyone have any questions?
I just have a comment. I have to tell you, all the little ones are so excited about the bubble machine again.
Yes, and the bubble machine will be back for Warminster Day, so let's hope for good weather.
Yes.
It can get a little chilly coming out of the bubble machine, but they do have towels and things available for purchase just in case, so your kids can still enjoy. But yes, bubbles will be back.
Yes. Thank you, Jess.
Thanks, Jess.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, land use matters, public hearings and ordinances. We have Mr. Tim Hagee, the Municipal Authority Sewer Lateral Inspection and Ordinance. Were you speaking about that tonight, Tim?
I can't read.
Is he supposed to? I'm sorry, I put him on the spot.
No, I don't want to do it.
But he has a big thick binder just in case.
We're ready? Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Tim. How you doing?
So you've had the opportunity to see the ordinance, proposed ordinance. It's going to help our wastewater system with inflow and infiltration. We've done a lot of work on our own infiltration and inflow, and now it's time to take this additional step, and we think it's going to really help out, and we appreciate the support from the Board of Supervisors with this proposed ordinance. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I think it's going to help the buyers as well of homes.
I agree.
There's quite a lot of things that there's benefits to this whole
The benefits, and unfortunately, just a couple of weeks ago, we had a new buyer come in and contacted us because their drains weren't working properly, and they had a big expense
Right.
After settlement, so.
So this will help
With
then.
a collapsed lateral. Right.
Can you give I was going to say, can you give a layman's quick explanation of what it
Sure,
what
sure,
it
John.
entails?
Folks at home would like you to explain what this is all about.
And folks here.
And folks here, like John. Thank you.
Right now, we haven't had rain in a while. Wastewater treatment plant sometimes can go to about 2.5 million gallons of flow. And when it rains, like earlier this year, we hit 30+ million gallons. So the plant can't handle that kind of flow during wet weather and the ground being saturated. And like all wastewater plants, that's a challenge to keep that extra flow out of the facility, because you just can't handle that kind of flow appropriately and provide appropriate treatment. So we've been lining our mains. They have all clay joints every 6 feet, a lot of them. So over the years, we've lined miles and miles of pipe. We go out, we televise, we see where there's infiltration coming in. I'll give you a good example, Hardman Lane. Hardman Lane, we wanted to line the sewer main, but we couldn't do it because there was so much groundwater coming into that pipe from laterals. We fixed those laterals. They were our laterals and some homeowners' laterals. We fixed those laterals. Then we lined the pipe. We paved the street, and the residents called because we had a water main break, because the water was coming out between the curb and the roadway. But it was just the groundwater. Now it didn't have a place to go. So we were just taking all that water in. It was thousands and thousands of gallons a day. We were taking that water in from leaky laterals. So
Tim, if I may, just for more information for everyone here and residents. So the more it rains, the more precipitation we get, the more infiltration into the soil, and the water table rises. So in many areas, it rises up to or above our residential laterals and our sewer mains. And a residential lateral that feeds the main sewers takes in all that water. And then our waste treatment plant, as Tim was saying, we can't process hundreds of millions of gallons of water. It's not designed that way, and And the more you line everything and stop that groundwater from flowing into our wastewater system, the easier it is to manage, the easier that, the DEP, our effluent is easier to treat, and it's just a win-win situation for everyone. So I'm sorry, I just wanted to make sure that
It's
everyone
just
understands
ongoing-
that
it's
the water
ongoing
table
maintenance.
rises.
This is just another tool for us
Right.
to remove that extra flow.
Thank you very much
Thanks, Tim.
for the edification. Thank you.
And thanks for all the work you guys are doing, lining our sewer mains to stop all the I, as it's called, infiltration and inflow, yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving along.
Well, wait a minute, are we going to take action on that?
Do I have to take, we would take action on each one individually, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right, so may I have a motion for the WMA sewer lateral inspection ordinance? May I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody, board have any questions?
I have no more questions.
Does the public have any questions regarding this? Okay,
John?
John?
What I was after was, John Priola says 674 Joseph Avenue. What I was after was, so if a person's selling the property, are we going to be doing a video camera of the sewer pipe going to the street as part of the sale of the property? This is what I was after, just so they would know.
That's correct.
He didn't give me that in what he was saying, but that's what I was after.
Yeah, I believe so.
So people would know that when they're going to sell their house, they're going to expect this fee to go out and inspect it, and if it's damaged, then they're going to need to repair it before.
Right, and
you get a
again,
new one up.
it protects the buyer as
Right,
well. Like,
exactly.
as Tim said, the person bought the house and then they had to
I am-
spend tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I
to-
understand what he's talking about with the
Yeah.
byproduct or whatever you want to call it, going into the pipe and
Right.
giving us more flow than we did. But my question is answered now. So people know that when you sell their house, you're going to have to get.
And it's not just done by anyone. There's,
Oh, well, other townships are doing it. I
Yeah,
know
yeah,
that
there's
already.
other
I
townships
just
that are
wanted to
doing it.
Make it clear that that's what was going to happen.
right, and it's working very well in the other townships.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay, thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
And we should add, it's not just houses, it's also all commercial
Yeah,
properties as well.
It's every sale.
Thank you. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion passes 5-0.
one at a time.
Huh?
Didn't you say individual?
No,
We already did that.
Okay.
no. Did I?
It's okay, Kathy.
Okay. All right, so
So
now
that
we have,
carried 5-0?
motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. Consider ordinance providing for comprehensive amendments to the Warminster Township zoning ordinance as amended, repealing inconsistent ordinances and parts of ordinances containing a savings clause and providing for an effective date. Mr. Scott Holbert, our solicitor, would you please explain?
Yeah, so the staff, the engineer, myself, we've been working on this for probably the entire year. This is mostly a cleanup ordinance. There were some places that there were issues in the language that wasn't too clear, so we cleared them up. There were some incorrect numberings. There were some items that we took out that were better proceeded in your saldo ordinance, which we will have additional updates coming towards the end of the year for that one as well. Same sort of thing, it's just a cleanup. So there's nothing really substantive being changed except for one thing, and I'll say that in a minute. So most of it was just to clean this up, make it more user-friendly in how we've seen with development and zoning issues arise, that if the language is clearer, we can get to the intent better. The only real substantive change was for the transit-oriented development. There is a small, reduce the lot size, basically cut it in half, because there are some lots near the train station, including the train station lot, that could benefit from transit-oriented development. They are smaller lots, so it's a possibility, but they would still need to meet all those requirements and go through a full land development as well.
Okay. Thank you, Scott.
That's it for me, unless Craig has anything more.
No, I think you summarized it really well. All minor things, nothing that we need to have any discussion on, and I think Mike Walsh did a great job of quarterbacking this and instead of Scott or myself. And we've reviewed all the changes, and we're in agreement with them.
All right, thank you very much. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Questions from the board? Any discussion or questions from the, Bob, come on up.
Good evening, everybody. How are you? Bob Welsh, 565 Howell Avenue, Warminster, PA. I'm on the zoning board, as you guys know. And I think it would be advantageous if a lot of people come into the zoning board and they want to put a garage in the backyard and it's got to be 5 foot off the property line, or they want to put a fence up. But I noticed over the last few years that they come in, they don't have it surveyed. They don't have their property surveyed. And I think that should be a clause that's in there. If they're coming in, they come in with tan drawings, and we don't know if they're true. You know, people come in with drawings coming from the county, but that doesn't mean the house is where it's supposed to be versus where the property lines are. So I just would recommend if they put a clause in there that when you come in to get a fence or whatever it is, that they should have a survey done. We had a gentleman come in last week, he wants to put up a big garage, and we had another one where they came in for an addition, and they only needed like 2 feet variance. And I said, did you get a survey done? And they said, no. And I said, well, that house might be 2 feet where you don't need this variance. So I think that'd be a good thing to put in there. I think it would be helpful for everybody in the township, the people coming in and the neighbors that they're, you know, around the projects that they want to put in. Just a suggestion.
I thought that to put a fence in, you had to get it surveyed. I mean,
No.
I know I did, because it's the right thing to do. You don't want to put your fence on your neighbor's property.
Well, we had a problem with the, you know.
Well, yeah.
And we've had neighbors that have done that
We've had other
too.
problems too.
Yeah. We had our survey too when we put ours up, but not everybody does that. That's a good idea.
I think it helps everybody.
Yeah. Right, I don't think-
Madam Chair, if I may, I
Sure.
think you can, that's quite common. I would 100% support that because
Yeah.
we get drawn in when there is an issue. And what happens is that whoever is presenting that information has to swear and testify on paper that that's their property line. And they thought it was, and it turns out it wasn't. Problem is, for a fence, for something small, the survey costs, and this is other municipalities, is a lot higher than actually sometimes even the, you know, the improvements, especially on a large property. So that's very common not to get surveyed. We recommend it. It's something maybe you could look at more at L&I and have Mike Walsh, Barry Isot's people look at that. You know, there's more notes. I know there's a lot of notes on the application forms because the more accurate it is. I've seen a lot of wasted time at zoning hearing boards on smaller projects if they would have just gotten a survey.
Right, and for me personally, when I first moved up here, I looked at my plot plan and it seemed like my yard was cut in half. So I got it surveyed and come to find that my neighbor had encroached with their fence 5 feet. So, because, and you know, and it was innocent enough because they didn't get a survey. They said, oh, I thought the bush was the corner of the lot. And I said, well, there's a pin usually at the corner of the lot. You know, and then they had to move the fence and, you know, everybody was upset for a little while, but
What I was saying is
I
you-
support that.
I think you
actually
can
do.
handle it more administratively. I do too, and instead of putting it in zoning, making it a requirement, it's something maybe that could at least be encouraged more at the administrative level down at L&I.
Right.
It does help, and it's quite common.
You know, and I guess down at zoning, you could push that issue a little more as well, right? So, well, thanks, Bob. Thanks for your comments.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Chair votes aye. Motion passes 5-0.
I don't, because these guys think they got it covered.
Okay, all right. Consider resolution for 65 West Street Road, lot line change plan. Scott, Mr. Holbert, can you please explain?
Yeah, so you have an application in front of you, or a resolution on an application in front of you, concerning a lot line change plan for 65 West Street Road. Involves a couple of properties. It actually kind of goes in with what we're talking about here right now, that there was a fence on one property, they thought it was on the other, so we're just moving the line to, or the applicant, I should say, is moving the line. They're here today We don't need to, the engineer and I talked, we don't feel they need to present anything because it's very simple. Basically, they're just moving the line to account for the fact that the fence is where it is, so. Is there anything you want to add,
No,
Greg?
I believe both property owners are, supporting the application. They had to go through the land development process. I know it was a little cumbersome for them. Sometimes we don't know what the issues are until we get done, but we resolved all the issues. Scott memorialized that in your resolution. It's simply moving a lot line, like Scott said, to resolve some property line issues or disputes, and this will clean that up. You have the resolution. I reviewed it and recommend you approve it tonight.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Craig. Okay, may I have a motion to consider resolution for 65 West Street Road lot line change plan?
Motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? Any questions or comments from anybody, the folks here? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Chair votes aye, motion passes 5-0. Public comment. Does anybody have any public comment tonight?
Yeah, I got a public comment. I want to know why I was never informed I had to get an agenda to get something done in this township. Well, somebody told me I had to get on the agenda, so I went to the township building to get on the agenda.
Okay,
This was Tuesday after the last meeting that I came to, 2 months ago. The lady told me, she took my name and phone number, said someone from the township will call you. It's been 7 weeks, and I haven't heard a word from the township.
well, I think Ms. Charlton has something she'd like to say to you. Janice?
Okay. During our, we had an opportunity with the board, and we are going to be addressing and having our engineer take a look at the situation that you've brought to the attention of the board, so that we can give you an answer to the questions that you've asked.
Why did it take 5 months or 6 months to get to this point?
Well, we have a resolution, sir. Thank you.
Well, I tried to get on your agenda, but if you'd had the balls to tell me, Mr. Stein, get on the
Excuse me?
agenda and we'll answer your question.
Excuse me?
never ends.
Chief?
Shut up, you punk.
Ooh.
Oh, my.
Chief, will you escort him out,
Please,
please?
thank you, Chief.
Escort me out, please.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
don't need escort.
I don't think your conversation worked very well.
That's,
You try.
Are you kidding me? Okay, sorry about that,
maybe
folks.
that's why it took 6 months.
That's why it took 6 months. There you go. Okay. Any other public comment tonight? Okay, come on, John. You're not going to scream at me next, are you?
Keep it
I
short.
don't need an escort. My kids are doing that stuff.
Thanks, John, you're a gentleman.
That's right.
John Priolo, 674 Joseph Avenue. This, of course, we are doing very well with duty tow. Very happy with the way things are going. It's going smooth. Doesn't seem to be any real problems. The only issue that I have, and I spoke with Ken a little bit and solicitor about the trying to get together the law on the abandonment of storage. I'm having a problem with, I won't say the insurance company likes to do this second time they've done it, and then the residents or whoever we're towing the vehicles for are leaving them. It's a Pennsylvania state law that they can't abandon storage. When police department determines that the vehicle needs to be removed and taken, towed, we take it to the facility. And what happens is that they don't show up. They leave the car there. They think that that's it. That's okay. They think they could just give us a title, whatever, for the fees. And then the insurance company. There's one in particular. I think we brought paperwork over the other day. Car's on police hold because it's still under investigation, and they decide that they don't want to pay what they're responsible for. We had another one, an insurance company out of New Jersey, did try to do the same thing, and I spoke with the mother of the deceased and talked to her attorney, and then told him what the situation was, and then he told the insurance company to settle it. On those large bills, we will do, we do adjust the bills to reflect what we feel is fair. But what we don't want is these people to just think that they can get away with not paying. The scenario, and from what I understand, and I know other towns are doing it too, is with you get the name and the name of the person who owns the vehicle, yada yada yada, and then we can go over to the JP's office and file a complaint, and then have them come in, and if they don't show up, then there's a situation there. But I need the rules. I tried to get Judy to help me with it. It's kind of vague. It is definitely in the insurance. The insurance adjusters tell me that it's in there. I have trouble finding it. I asked the solicitor. I don't know if he has done anything with it.
I found some things in the code, but I haven't found the right
Yeah.
insurance regulations yet. But I'm still
Okay,
looking.
so what I'm trying to do is try to fix that problem, so I don't have 8 or 10 cars sitting there. I mean, I understand the ones that are on police hold, that you have to do it, and I'm willing to do that, but the ones that I don't have to do, you know, are sitting there. There's other ways of getting rid of removing the vehicle or whatever, which is abandonment and some other avenues that way. But we still would like to get paid for a service. So that if we can get some help from the township trying to find out that situation, it would help us. I know what other townships have done, but I can't, you know, we're charting a little different territory now with the way we're doing it. And, you know, they usually go in, and if the people don't pay or don't show up, then what they do is they file against the driver's license, and then either suspend the license for the fee until they pay or whatever, and that's how we'll get paid. That's my understanding how it works. So I just wanted to let you know, maybe we can figure it out somehow, and fix that problem.
Okay, John.
You know, we don't want to be sitting on, you know, 10, 15 cars, you know what I mean?
Right.
Every rotation, you know, every week, every month or so. We're sitting on, right now, probably 6 or 7. We did 8. We sent them to another salver to do that, to speed the process up, to help us out, to get us room. And then I did get a permit, and I put a fence up behind the house. I opened it up. We're gonna park some cars in there that are gonna sit for a long time.
Did you have it surveyed, John?
I didn't get the survey. No, I wrote it with hand, I drew it up with pencil and paper.
You want a cocktail napkin?
But what I did is I kept it in the property, and they go all the way to the end. I did have the measurements from before, as per the past zoning guide.
Right.
So, but I knew I was gonna be well in within this little.
Okay.
So I'm okay, don't worry about that. If you wanna come by and look at it, it looks nice.
Good,
Put a nice
yeah.
privacy fence so the neighbors don't see nothing.
Very nice. Yeah, we'll look into that problem, yeah.
Thanks, John. Any other comments? Bob?
Bob Wells, Howell Avenue, Warminster, PA. Something that John said, I do have a question on that. What deems a car on the road to be abandoned? I mean, I've seen a couple cars on the street, but they had no tags on it.
If they don't have tags on it.
Is that worth a call to the police station?
Ask
or-
Chief. Chief?
Yeah, I think,
Question, Chief.
What deems an abandoned car?
Well, what deems an abandoned car investigation is that it doesn't have inspection, insurance, or a current registered plate on it. If it has any of those 3, it's not abandoned, it's parked.
Well, what if it doesn't have a plate?
If it does have a plate, then it goes into abandoned status. We have to hunt down the owner of the car. We have to send them notice. They have 30 days to respond. If they don't respond or fail to respond, like don't move the car, don't fix the problem, then we can tell them mark it as abandoned. And then it goes into the salvage process.
Okay, so if
So
we,
right now, the one on Norwood, it took us 30 days to find it.
Now, Chief, is that-
The tag is like Indiana or someplace. Went from Indiana to Massachusetts to Rhode Island to New Hampshire, and then we finally found out where its true address was, and we just sent it. So that car will be
state vehicle, right?
moved probably.
That's not an ordinance, that's in the state, right?
28th. It's a Sunday, but we're probably gonna wait until Monday to get it out of there.
State, yeah.
It finishes Sunday night. Monday morning, they'll probably go to that first doesn't be fine.
Chief, that's through the state vehicle
That's state
code.
law, yeah.
Right, state law.
There's a whole
Right.
process for it, so you have to find the owner, you have to locate them, you have to send them certified mail. They have to, and then they have 30 days to respond to the certified mail. The hard part's fine.
Yeah, thank you for doing all the time it took to do that, because that's been a question I get asked an awful lot in Speedway.
Right. And he can't move that car until they do that?
No.
No,
No, if it's not,
The Commonwealth.
not according to the Commonwealth, that's right.
it's not blocking lanes of travel, and it's,
Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, I've seen a couple and I didn't know, without plates, and I'm like, but they had an inspection sticker on them, but so we just
Yeah.
call a guy.
Yeah, I
an
would call
officer.
I would call the police department.
Right. Okay. Another really, really important thing here is Arby's sign went up on the building, and we got all kinds of speculation when they're going to open. Do we have an opening date?
Oh, this
You know,
is
signs
this is
on the
another
building.
ongoing saga.
What'd you say? When is Arby's open?
September 23rd.
September 23rd.
There you go.
That's a good
Grand opening, ribbon cutting.
That's what we said on Facebook.
Facebook's not.
So it's going to be
Well, we know about Facebook, there's not much
Right,
truth
there's
out
nothing right on
there.
there.
John, are you sure, the 23rd?
That's what the.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
The ribbon
Okay.
cutting?
Okay,
we'll say
John
allegedly
Ramey just
23rd.
announced that Arby's will be open on September 23rd.
And it's not here
Allegedly.
There you go.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
They have to pass inspection
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay. Moving along.
Anybody else?
Anybody else? Anybody else? Come on up.
Thank you. My name is Shannon Corello. I'm at 550 Winchester Road in the Wellesley Hills neighborhood. I'm here tonight to ask for, I don't know if I should ask for an ordinance or if you can help me with stopping someone from deliberately feeding deer and attracting them to the neighborhood. I've spoken with my neighbor directly and to no avail. I called the Pennsylvania Game Commission. They said because our area is not endemic to tick-borne disease, she's not in violation. So she suggested that I go to the township. She did say that they don't encourage feeding deer because it attracts other animals and other diseases. If her feeding the deer attracted elk or bear, they'd have a problem. So it could be worse, right? We don't have elk or bear, I'm thinking.
Did you call animal control, ma'am?
I did.
Did you speak to Clay?
No, he did not return. I called and got a police officer.
Okay.
The police officer was going to go to the house, and I said, no, don't do that. I didn't want to bother the elderly mother of the person, the other family member that's feeding them. So he said he would leave a message for animal control, and then I didn't get a call back. I stopped at the township building, and he was out on a call. But everyone along the line seems to hear my concern and agree with me, but they just say there's nothing we can do. So I asked, how I could get on the agenda, and they said, just come to the meeting tonight. So here I am, just asking for help. I have some statistics from the Centers for Disease Control. There's a statement on the CDC website that says, due to mild winters and other favorable factors, the 2024 tick population will be equal to or larger than last year. And a CDC researcher states it is very bad and is only getting worse. Pennsylvania is ahead of New York and New Jersey as far as Lyme disease goes. There are 73,000 plus cases in Pennsylvania, so we are 4,000 cases ahead of New York and 11,000 plus cases ahead of New Jersey. 7 of the top 10 most affected counties in Pennsylvania by Lyme disease are in Pennsylvania, and Bucks County is listed as having a little bit over 1,800 cases of Lyme disease. And I do have an anecdotal report of a case of Rocky Mountain spotted fever for a resident in Churchville.
Unfortunately, we do have some residents that do. I do know that if you see any other wild animals, say like rats or anything else that is attracting,
Well, that's-
and if you
Coyotes
if you call, you're going to, because I've already run into this with another resident, and so then they called animal control, and animal control came out then, and made him take care of it. So we don't have any ordinances.
So how do you
So,
get an ordinance?
and
or
by the
what-
way, and thank you for being very nice. of
Very
us.
nice to us.
We appreciate that.
We
When you get on the
appreciate that.
agenda, all you have
I
to
know,
do is
it
come
was
to
like-
public
I was getting
comment.
a little nervous.
So we can reach out to the county as well to see if there's anything at the county level.
So I did, from what I understand, that the Bucks County Department of Health does not track deer population.
Right, well, that's true.
So,
That's true.
yeah.
Scott, do you have something?
I was gonna say, I just found what department did you speak with the state? The gaming commission?
Game Commission?
Yeah, I just found it weird that they said something like that, because it is generally illegal to feed
It is.
wildlife except for
They
birds.
said, they said because we're not, like, we don't want to become an endemic area to
Right.
Lyme disease, but they said because it's not concentrated enough in our area, we're not on that.
Chief, were you
list.
going to add
I believe
something?
it's illegal to feed them, to hunt them, but it's not illegal to feed them.
Right.
So
Right.
this is how I spend my evenings and weekends, is cleaning up feces
Mm-hmm.
and plus for the deer and then all the other animals that they attract.
Let's, let us see what we can help you with on that.
Let's talk about it, and yes.
And,
Okay.
We'll be more than
Okay.
happy. Do
Give
we
your
have
information to Jill, your
Yeah, to
name
Jill.
and information.
Thank you.
And Jill, just write down a quick synopsis and then we'll get back to it,
Thank you,
okay?
appreciate that.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Okay.
Okay. All right, moving along, consent agenda.
Could I,
Can I come
interrupt you
down
for a
there?
minute?
Sure.
I'd like to remove, on the consent agenda, B. I'm not quite ready for that one yet.
All right,
That's it.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Okay, so we moved B. All right, A, consider approval of Board of Supervisors minutes dated August 1st, 2024. Pinch you, behave. Consider resolution establishing a fee schedule for application and review of subdivision and land development applications and review of building and zoning building permit applications and fees associated with township administration transient business permits. D, consider resolution for 1250 West Bristol Road, PA DEP sewage planning module. E, approve Cohen Law Group proposal for Verizon franchise agreement renewal services. F, consider deeds of easement, stormwater easement for the following properties: 1253 Cloverly Road, 1259 Cloverly Road, 697 Ivy Land Road, 524 Prospect Road, and 1119 Roberts Road, 870 Decker Lane, Villa Drive, and 866 Decker Lane. G, consider of deed of dedication 1250 West Bristol Road. H, consider renewal of franchise agreement with Comcast. I, consider Nifty 50s Warminster Plaza 606 York Road escrow release number 2, final from the escrow amount in the amount of $11,329.90. J, recommendation to award Morton Salt Incorporated the 2024-25 rock salt contract through the Bucks County Consortium. Okay. May I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved. Madam Chair.
Second? Does anybody have any questions or comments?
No?
Anyone from the public with any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion passes 5-0. Okay. Finance report. Chuck, you're up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Available, approval of bill list and supplemental bill list. One, bill list dated August 15th, 2024 in the amount of $972,796.86, with the supplemental bill list dated August 30th, 2024 in the amount of $840,754.57, with a grand total financial statement July 24 is $1,813,551.43.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Anybody have any questions or comments? No. From the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, chair votes aye. Sorry, I said that the wrong way. Okay, all right. We have no unfinished business tonight. Oh, that's right. Come on, John.
John's standing there waiting patiently.
I saw him in his blue shirt.
Not only am I skipped over, I'm gonna get a pause like Jess does when she walks on.
Right, no, nothing. All right,
Seems appropriate.
Okay, John.
I'll be quick on this one. So the general fund's looking good. The revenues are down $269,000. It's literally, last year, we had 2 permits, and that's what it is. There's 2 permits for 2 big projects. Without not them being considered in the 2023 numbers, we're ahead of last year in revenues. The really great news is we're actually down $49,000 in expenses from last year. That's with increased salaries, increased health insurance costs, all of these other line items, so we're looking really good. Expenses were 45% of budget, we're at 48% last year, so the general fund is looking fantastic.
Great news, John, and as always, thank you.
All right.
And thanks to your staff for doing a
Yes.
great job controlling our costs, because
It's
as we
not
know,
just-
they were
it's-
out of
it's every
control for a long
department
time.
head. Everyone is afraid to spend money, which is kind of a good thing.
Yeah.
They're afraid of Tom, that's why. No.
Well, one thing I have to say about our staff is they're very conscious of spending the taxpayers' money. You know, when we first got here, Judy and I, and Kathy probably as well, when it was like an ATM machine. That's right. But everyone, our staff is incredible, and they spend it as if it's their money.
And
And
we're
we
in the middle of the
appreciate
budget process, like, we started it in July. Right now, all the department heads are giving me their expenses. Everyone's being extremely frugal to this point on their individual line items, so.
That's great.
Things are looking good.
Great. Thanks, John.
Thank you
Alright.
very much. We'll be back up in a minute.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right,
Okay,
so
here we go.
new business. Consider appointment of interim tax collector. Just for the edification for everyone here tonight, we had interviews for the candidates that were applying for our esteemed tax collector, Bobby Loftus, and we have made a decision. I want to say that this particular applicant was extremely qualified, extremely great education, not to mention this particular person also took the test and passed it and is ready to go right away. So in lieu of all of that, we made a decision to appoint Nicole Rainier.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, just the effective date.
Yeah, the effective
Right.
date.
With the effective date of
Right. January.
1.
So the appointment, the name is being told now. However, until Bobby resigns at the end of the year, then at reorganization, then Nicole will be appointed. She will finish Bobby's term, and then, yes?
You can make, so,
Is there a motion to be made here?
yeah, you can make a motion and then we'll finish it up in the new year with her once she takes the
Right,
position. Yeah.
right.
So the motion would be appoint her effective, I forget what Bobby announced her last day would be.
January 6th.
January 6th.
So effective that date, there you go.
Is that a reorg, that date?
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right.
So it might be the day before reorg?
Oh.
That's what I mean. Do I have to have the exact date right now?
You can say.
It'd be I was going to say reorganization, January 2025.
It's January 6th.
It is?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Let me just look at the calendar. It's
Yeah,
January 6th.
I
Okay.
remember her saying she was going
Okay.
to be resigning officially January 6th.
All right. So as of January 6th, that's when Nicole Rainier will be appointed.
Is there a motion in order?
So, may I have a motion to consider appointment of interim tax collector Nicole Rainier?
So moved.
May I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second? Are there any questions or comments from the board?
I'd like to make a comment.
Okay, Mr. Hayes?
I know because of the sunshine law, we didn't have the whole board there for the interviews, but there were good candidates, and I feel that we're going to appoint as interim the best candidate, because she already has her certification, she's already got her police background checks, and she's just, in my opinion anyway, the best candidate for the job. Thank you.
Thank you. Judy?
I'm going to have to recuse myself from this vote.
Okay, okay. Anybody else? Anybody have anything to say from, okay, Bob?
Yes, good evening, Bob Wells, Howell Avenue. Can I ask how many candidates were interviewed? Three.
Three.
Three?
Mhm.
And they were all qualified?
At different levels.
On different levels.
Okay. But this one was outstanding versus the other two?
Outstanding.
Absolutely.
Okay. Is that all going to be given out, that information to the public on how qualified they are?
How does that, can that be done?
Scott?
Certain items might be prohibited under the right to know law because I have to take a look at that because it might not fall under that personnel exception, so we'll take a look.
Okay.
Okay, because this is a very, very important job.
It is.
believe it.
And we took
have
it
to
very
make sure
seriously.
the person that's in there is definitely qualified.
Oh, we made
So-
sure, Bob.
Well, the fact
We
that,
made sure.
that she studied and already has the certification, that she took the initiative to do
Doesn't mean
that.
they're always qualified,
Yeah.
it's just to take a test.
Oh, I know. No, I understand, but I'm saying if you saw the entire resume, you'd have been really very
Okay.
impressed, but.
Well, I thought it'd be fair
And
for
we
the
did have our
township to understand
solicitor,
what
everything was in,
qualifications
I didn't mean to interrupt you, I just wanted to let everybody know, our solicitor was there, our township manager was there,
Financial director.
our
was there.
financial director was there, yes. So,
And Bob, we take this very seriously.
We do.
It's
Absolutely.
$80 million
Absolutely.
and they have to be bonded.
That's right.
So this is not a joke. And my personal opinion is she's the best qualified candidate. And I take that very seriously.
if there's anything that we can put out there, I don't know, for, Scott's
We'll
gonna
have a
look
look
into
at that
it.
and see
Scott's
what we
gonna
can-
look into it.
Appreciate,
okay?
I think the township would appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Okay. All right. And any other questions? Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And motion carries 4-1 with the absentia of Judy Hoover.
Aye. I didn't hear you. that's all.
Aye.
Thank you.
We heard you,
Good one,
Janice.
good one, Janice.
They heard you. I didn't. I was looking that way. Sorry. Bad
Good
ear.
one. Okay.
4-0.
All right. And now, for our star, John Ramey, he will consider, before we do this, he's going to do a presentation, and we're going to be talking about the minimal municipal obligation for the township pension plan. And John's going to explain, and then we'll decide.
This is why you don't get applause, John, because it's all number crunching.
exciting.
Yeah, it is.
This is probably like, wow.
Is it welding or soldering?
So we're gonna start with
Raising,
the definitions. This should get us started for like the next hour or so.
Okay.
Of the presentation, but, I'm just kidding. As our chairwoman said, MMO, the minimum municipal obligation. That's what has to be voted on by September 30th every year. So this is the meeting, it has to be approved. No matter what we're gonna do, we have to approve at this meeting. And that will go into the budget as we flow through. These are gonna be all terms that I'm gonna say constantly, so I just wanna run through them real quick. Discount rate, that's an assumed rate of return for investments. That's something the pension committee kind of looks at every year. Then the board chooses, all right, what kind of assumed rate are we going to get back from the money that we have invested? That goes into the MMO based on how much money we need and then how much money we have to set aside. Last year we went from 8% down to 7.5%. We're going to talk about that a little bit more.
Which is a monumental
It's
event.
changing that.
That's right.
Changes these MMO numbers by a lot.
Right. And it's 8% was unreasonable.
Yeah.
It was
At this
unattainable,
point-
actually.
The last 2 years, we've had 8% returns, but we got to look this as like forever returns.
Right.
Over the life of 20 years is kind of what we look at. Even our pension advisors, they're looking at like around 7 to 7.5. So that's like, we narrowed it down to what they actually believe are going to be our returns. The market value of assets. So this is the plan assets, when calculated using the MMO, this method, the actuary looks at what the total liability is and takes what the current assets are based on the discount rate, which we already talked about, and that's how the MMO is determined. Saying, oh, you have this much money, this is what you have to actually put in to work your liability. The other method is the smoothing.
Can I just jump in for a minute?
Yeah.
That's the amount of money we have now in the pension fund, minus what we're gonna need to pay out over the next unlimited lifetime of the plan.
Right.
That's that liability. So we have $35 million right now, probably more in the police pension plan. So that's not enough.
Yep. So there's always going to be a net
Well, not over
pension
the
liability.
lifetime.
Right.
Right.
It'll never be enough over the lifetime because it's a lifetime.
The other method is the smoothing method, which we talked about last year, and we went to this way because of an extreme cost of how down the markets were through our last 2-year valuation period. So what this does, instead of the current assets, it actually smooths out the losses, but more importantly, it's smoothing out the gains. So yes, there was a couple of years of losses. So eventually, like the last 2 years, when we get this, and we're going to talk about this way more in detail, it's going to take the last 2 years, 23 and 24 are looking really fantastic. It's going to take those gains and smooth them out too. That's going to be some opportunities we have going forward. So move along. I just want to give a quick history of, this is the police pension MMO. We can see it going from 2024 being just over $1 million to 2.3 million in 2024. The really important thing to look at is not only are we paying that 2.3 million, we budgeted for, we're paying $300,000 extra. This is directly taken from our financial statement, so anyone that looks at it, mainly when if we ever have to get rated by a bond company or for a bond issue, it's going to help our bond rating. Because they're going to say, hey, look, of course, the pointer doesn't work. But they're going to say, hey, you're actually paying more than you have to. That's something that, at the end of this, I'm going to suggest that we keep paying more than we have to try and get back to that market value. But this year, we're looking really good. So in this is the non-uniform. So the reason we're actually paying extra only to the police pension, the non-uniform defined benefit plan is a closed plan. There's no new hires that are actually able to go into this. So it's pretty much people are getting older, we're not hiring younger people. So as we hire younger new police officers, that's going to affect the MMO. We don't have that issue with this one. So that's why it's only $534,000, the MMO for this year. And talking with the actuary, there is no reason to overpay this because we're getting more and more funded every year towards the non-uniform pension plan. So this is something really good. This is going to be in our, again, from our financial statements. In 2022, our net pension liability, that's, again, what Tom was alluding to. This is what your total liability is, less what you actually have saved in assets. In 2022, it's just over 17 million. It actually dropped $880,000 with lowering the discount rate. If we kept that same 8% discount rate, it probably would have been about a $2 million mark. So that little 0.5% changes that total liability so much. And then looking at the individual plans, the police, it went up 527,000. We're hiring a lot of younger police officers. We still have other people that are collecting. That's why that went up. And then the non-uniform went down 1.4 million. Again, we're not hiring anyone new, and the people that are collecting, they're getting older. So based on age tables and everything like that they use, that's how they were able to lower that net pension liability.
So the non-uniform employees that we do hire just aren't eligible for a defined benefit pension.
Right. They're in a defined contribution plan, which people pretty much, like a normal would be a 401k. We have a 401a, just different numbers for the same exact thing. So pretty much the decision tonight that we have to come down to is option one, we use the market value of assets. The total cost would be $4.3 million. That's an increase of $1.5 million. That's going to be really hard to fit into the budget. And this is before any additional money that goes into these plans. The option two, which I would suggest, we keep the smoothing method for now, but we keep adding extra money into it. That total cost would be just under $3 million. And it's only an increase to the budget without the extra $300,000 of only $86,000. We could work $86,000 I think it was said earlier, that's a rounding error in our
Right.
budget. It's a $50 million budget, 86,000, we can find that. So that would be the option I would choose. But looking into the long term, again, what I said before, there's a 2-year valuation period. We're about to get a new valuation. It's going to be 2023 and 2024 returns. With that, having 2 years of good returns, that's going to affect the MMO in 2026. I think there's going to be a large decrease. Then we're going to have multiple options at that point to switch back to the market value of assets or lower the assumed discount rate again. If we could get down to 7%, that would be ahead of the state average at this point. I think 7.25 is what most of the state is looking at. So we would jump ahead of everybody. It'd be very realistic. We'd have actuarial gains because anytime that it would be over 7%, it would look really well for the township. Or maybe we could do both. Until that time happens, we don't know. So that's the kind of things that by just doing 1 more year of the smoothing and also adding that additional money, even if we kept the smoothing, the difference is, I think, 1.2 million. 300 is getting 1/3 of that. So that would be 3 years that we work our way back to the market without these great returns we've had in 23 and 24.
But those great returns are going to affect the MMO. It's going to decrease.
The
without
MMO
a
is
doubt.
good. It's
Right.
going to decrease a lot.
So we have a lot of
we're gonna
options.
have a lot of options.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing what that valuation actually looks like. And some of the other things that the pension committee and this board has done is we switch pension advisors. Way lower cost, almost the exact same, if not better returns. We're looking at actuaries trying to save money because a penny saved is a penny earned. So there's a lot of things that are going to decrease this MMO over time. And just looking at these things, I think it's going to save the township a lot of money in the long run.
So there's no doomsday?
No, absolutely.
Well, that's what seems to be what's out on Facebook.
I'm looking forward to the 26 budget.
Yeah, me too.
with this MMO.
Me too. Because if you don't understand how municipal finance works, then it's easy to put out falsehoods. So it looks good. I've been looking at these numbers as well, John, and you're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, John, great job, great job.
You and your staff.
I wanted to say with option 1 and option 2, I agree with you that I'm looking at this. So we'd be putting $300,000 extra in there in addition, correct?
As we finish up the budget, we'll see how much additional we can.
Okay.
My goal is to keep that extra 300 that
Okay.
we have in the 2024 budget. We'll raise it to 86,000 plus keep that extra
Okay.
300,000.
Plus that, so it'll come out to around
And again, this is
3.2
minimum
million.
municipal obligation.
Yeah. Okay.
So anything we put in extra, this is what we
That's
have
gravy.
to do.
Mhm.
We can always put more in.
Thank you.
And the greatest thing about this is not only do we have lots of options, but right now we have a AA bond rating, and this will definitely help us get a AAA bond rating.
Yeah.
I think. Anybody knows anything about bond ratings, we can put everybody to sleep for an hour with that if you like.
Yes, but we have a great bond rating, we can tell you that. Well, thank you,
Well, it's
John.
nice to have people that understand
Yes,
what's going on.
it is. Anyone else on the board have any other questions or comments?
I'm just grateful that we're actually putting extra money, $300,000 onto paying that off, the MMO. Because in the past, that hasn't happened. So now in the last couple of years, we've started doing that, so we're actually bringing it down.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing, so I'm glad to be part of that.
Any comments or questions from the public?
There's no motion yet.
Bob's got a question. Tom, you have a question?
I have a comment.
Okay, comment.
I say this a lot, and I'm going to say it again later on tonight. We're talking about the amount of money we're going to put into the budget for 2025. So this is a big line item. So if we decide, and as John indicated, the staff recommends that we go with the smoothing method for both the non-uniform and the police pension payments for 2025, which we will make about 13 months from now, next fall. For the police is going to be 2.4 million, and the non-uniform will be 533,000 and change. So these are our biggest line items.
Literally.
in the budget, except for, you know, but it's, as far as one specific line in the budget, this is the big
The
one.
police one, it is the actual biggest individual line item. If you take the 500, it's $2.5 million. That's why it's important to educate as many people as
So,
possible.
John,
It sets the tone
Yes.
for the budget, and because 2022 was such a bad year for investments, everybody remembers, we're still, thank you.
So the $300,000 will go into the police pension, correct?
Yeah,
Or whatever additional payments we
I would
make
always keep
going
overfunding
into
the
the police
police,
pension.
because
That's
like I said, the
right. Because we
non-uniforms
continue to
closed.
hire new officers and,
We currently only have 3 active employees that are in the non-uniform defined benefit plan.
right,
So,
okay.
Thank you very much for explaining all of that. One moment. May I have a motion?
Motion to.
Motion, all right,
to-
so we have two different scenarios. We can vote on I'm sorry. No. One, it's a one, okay.
So if I may, Madam Chair, I motion to,
Well, I was going to explain both of these, so.
well, John just explained it, if I may. I'll motion to accept the smoothie method for both the police pension plan and the non-uniform pension plan.
I'll second that. Okay, any other questions or,
We had one more question before.
yes, Bob, yeah, I had to do the motion first. Come on, Bob, come on up.
Okay, so you said the total cost of 2.953 million and an increase of 86,000, right? But you didn't say if they did the full payment of 4 million, what would that cost be?
4 million.
4 million.
4.3 million.
So that would be the total cost of both the non-uniform and the police pension.
Right, so the increase would be 1.4?
Yeah.
Not the 86?
Yes. So that would be switching from the smoothing back to the market value of assets.
And that's a full payment, it's fully funded for this?
No,
It won't be a fully funded.
it's not fully
plan.
funded.
Yes, yeah, for 2020.
So that's why we contribute additional money.
Right.
Right, so what would that knock it down if you did the 4 million?
Not gonna be- when you- I'm not sure.
What we go? What's the total, 16?
Well, that's all varying on the market.
Right, it
Now, that's-
just changes.
No, we
What's the
have
li- the
35 million in the
liability is
pension.
what?
The total liability. So this is the net pension liability.
Let's do the net pension.
Right.
So this is the net pension liability. This is what we owe with the current assets. So at the end of 2023, if we had an extra 13 million, then we would be 100% funded. We would need $16 million to fully fund both pension plans, but we don't need that all at one time.
Yeah. Who's playing the lottery tonight?
And there's no way that the township could, we'd have trouble finding $1.5 million increase, let alone the 16 million.
But it still jumped up with the payment in 2022, right? The payment was 4 million? Was I reading that right?
No, this would be the 2025.
No, I'm looking back at what you had there. So
No,
in
that-
2022, you
that-
made a payment of 4 million, right?
No, that's the net pension liability. Or are you talking about here? So in 2024, we made a $2.6 million payment.
Okay, and I go back to the other screen.
So that's the police, then we did another 534.
Right.
And so this is the net pension liabilities of, after these payments, again, we have to look back in time. We don't know what the end of 2024 is going to be until 2024.
So by the way, Bob, I think what you're asking is the percentage of funding. I think we're 85% funded or more.
Yeah, we're over 80.
Yeah, which is actually very, very healthy.
It is.
Right, I get that. Well, my point is the payment.
Yeah, me
I see
too.
the difference of almost a little under $1 million, so you're not still catching it. Is that where I'm going?
So again, this is net pension liability.
Right.
Yeah. If we're over time, especially the non-uniform, since people are getting older and there's no new people coming in, that liability is going to keep going down. The police will keep going up, so will the MMO and how much we have to put in there. you're allowed to stretch it out so far based on the actuarial evaluations. So that's why that's how they determine how much money you have to put in every year. It's a actuarial thing. The state determines, yeah, you have to put this much money in based on your assumed discount rate.
Okay. And how many years are you allowed to use a smoothing method?
Smoothing, I think we use 4.
4 years?
Yeah.
And then you gotta do the full vote.
So every year there's another 4-year window that opens of your losses or gains. So next year, again, since 2023 and 2024 are going to be such good years, they're going to smooth out those gains. It's going to cancel out all the losses from the prior 4 years. So you almost got to think of like brackets going down.
Right. Okay, so doing the smoothing method, is it gonna balance our budget?
We're not using it to balance the
Right,
budget.
right.
For 2024, with an only $86,000 increase, or I'm sorry, 88,000, I believe it was. 86, yeah. I have no problem balancing the budget with an $86,000 increase. A $1.5 million increase would be a really hard task to find.
Okay.
And the last thing we want to do, and I think that's what got the township in trouble, is using reserves. We actually have a healthy reserve right now, but to use reserves for current year expenses is not the way to operate. The reserves are for surprise expenses and stuff like that. So I would not use reserves for any kind of 1-year expense.
And those reserves are, yeah, we did, what used to be happened, Bob, and you know this because we were on that committee, is we use those reserves to balance the budget. So this is not, we don't do that anymore. That's a bad practice. It's bad practice in business, it's a bad practice in municipal government.
It's extremely frowned upon.
Yeah, so, you know,
And we
those
talk about bond
reserves.
ratings, that's horrible.
Yeah, our bond rating will crash, but not only that, those reserves, if there's a huge economic downturn, we're gonna need those reserves, you know, so. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks, John. Okay, all
Thank you,
in
John.
favor for,
Well, any other comments from the, Kath? Any other comments from the
well, I
public?
asked. Does anybody have any other comments besides John? He was the only one who raised his hand. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. All right, so for option number 1, you want to explain that again so everybody knows exactly what we're voting on?
Yeah, option number, I made a motion to accept the, it's not option number 1, it's the smoothing plan for both the police pension and the non-uniform pension.
Yes.
So it'll be a piece of item 1
Yes,
and item 2.
and I second it.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, chair votes aye, motion passes 5-0. Okay, all right. Moving along to professional reports, Township Manager, Tom Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I just want to point a couple things out that for our public safety effort in this year we've advanced, as everybody knows, a 3-member professional firefighting group, full-time 3 firefighters. We're going to be expanding that. And right before we all came in here, Joe Velton was having a round of interviews with some candidates. So we've got candidates, we've got people that are interested in the jobs. That's very encouraging because everybody's hiring firefighters now. And it's good that people are interested in us. And Joe does a great job with the selections along with our HR officer, Cindy Ott. Additionally, gleaned from Chief Donnelly's report, we have 2 very eligible candidates that are now in the police academy that have, as far as we know, committed to coming to Warminster when they're done. So we're seeing a lot of turnover in the police department with people retiring, and people filing for drop, and now there's another opportunity for new officers to be hired. So my point is that Warminster Township is very committed to public safety through these 2 programs, through the police department, through the fire department. And we're going to keep going to the staffing as much as we can. And the chief will tell you, he'll be the first one to tell you, and John too, it's tough to maintain that level because we do move people through the ranks to retire, or there's other reasons why they leave. But we've been fortunate so far that we're finding these interesting candidates who meet our expectations and can do the job. And they, we've seen them all in here, we swear them in, we take pictures and whatnot. So we're hoping that we can keep that going at least through the end of the year. And I've encouraged Joe and Chief Donnelly, Mr. Veldt and Chief Donnelly, to keep it up for, as long as they can. As long as they've got people that are interested and qualified, we definitely have an opportunity to bring them on board.
Thank you, Tom. I just would like to comment on that. Safety for our residents is one of our #1 priorities. So anything that we can do to improve that, that's what we try to do with our ordinances and any other incentives that we can do. Thank you, Mr. Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And we've always been committed, since I've been here, to maintain a healthy and solid police force, and I'm thrilled that we're going to wind up with 5 full-time daytime firemen. It's quite an accomplishment.
It's quite a feat, is right. And Joe Velton's been smiling from ear to ear.
Yeah, and the other thing with the law that was enacted this year, giving us latitude in the fire fund, it's not going to be a drain on our budget as well. So if we don't need it now, we don't need it this year. But if in the future we need to increase the fire fund to pay for the firefighters and their benefits, the opportunity's there, the access is there to increase that budget.
Thank you.
So we'll thank the Senate and the House in Harrisburg for, I know I've been back and forth with the fire chiefs, and we've had a lot of meetings, and we met in the middle, and I've always said that relief has to come from Harrisburg, and I'm glad to say that it finally did.
I'm so glad too. Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Okay, now we have Mr. Scott Holbert, our solicitor.
Yes, thank you. I don't have anything business related tonight to report, but I did want to say, as I've talked about here before, I coach my daughters in travel soccer, and every year in the last 5 years, one of my daughters has participated in the Al Perlini tournament hosted by Warminster Soccer Club. And I should have said this when Jess was here, but I was focused on the next 2 agenda items. But I just want to say my younger daughter's team had the privilege of playing at Warminster Community Park on Sunday. I spent the better part of my entire day there, 11 hours, and the fields are just wonderful. I mean, yeah. Coaching 2 teams does that to you. So, but my one daughter got to play at Warminster Community Park, and just like the previous years when it first opened up when we played there in 2021, 3 years later, they're some of the best fields in the inter-county area, so it's wonderful.
Yep, that brings back those days of coaching.
Yep.
Those were the days. I'll tell you what, I think we got more out of it than even the kids did. We loved it.
We watch the games, they have fun.
Yeah, right.
In between the games.
Exactly.
So.
And a testament and kudos to our parks people and our public works as well, because they work diligently to they care, and thank you for your hard work.
They do a great job.
Especially, as someone who hosts those attorneys, the best you can do, and even if you try, after 2 full days of kids playing games all day on them, fields get beat up. You wouldn't have known at any time. You played the first game, you played the last game on one of the fields. You wouldn't have known that 30 games were played on that field that weekend.
Oh, wow.
So
that's nice to hear. Thank you for all those accolades. I'm sure that our Parks and Rec Director and Public Works are very happy to hear those nice comments. Moving along, how about Mr. Craig Kenner?
Thank you,
from
Madam
Gilmore
Chair.
Associates. Okay.
I really don't have any changes or updates to our report, but I wanted to highlight just a couple projects more from the public. We haven't really talked about Shenandoah Woods the last couple of meetings, but that doesn't mean there's not a lot going on. Then the road program is wrapping up. Obviously, the milling paving has been done. They're still working on the handicap ramps. And then one update that's Mr. Scott's favorite is the 13 traffic signals that your former traffic engineer was trying to wrap up. We finally, after 3 months, got feedback from PennDOT. It took them 3 months. We submitted June 6th and received PennDOT review comments on 13 traffic signal intersections on August 26th. We've already made those changes. They were all minor, no surprises, so we'll resubmit for hopefully approval to make and upgrade all your signals, and Mr. Scott will be happy. But I'm a little disappointed in that. There's, it just, when you send stuff up to the state, you're not getting a permit in 30 days.
Right.
But we're there. And then Five Ponds, we're focused more on the clubhouse right now. And Erin and her team are working with Five Ponds Golf Course staff on some changes to the layout for the parking and the building, the accessory building. So, and we are engaging our structural engineer on the bridges and then the retaining walls for the ponds. And also I think Erin's working on the dredging. We had trouble getting some dredgers to give us some feedback and comments. So we got some of that now. Mr. Hayes has helped out. So we got a lot going on behind the scenes.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you
That's
very
all I have.
much. All right. Mr. Scott, would you like to go over the upcoming agenda items?
Well, I would like to suggest that we've accomplished a lot tonight, and there's no need to have a second meeting in September. Well, I've taken the board's pleasure. It's up to you guys, of course. I think we should proceed right to the next, the first Thursday in October, which would be October the 3rd.
No objection. Any other objection from anyone? No?
No objection.
We're all on board, Mr. Scott.
Thank you.
And any other agenda items you want to talk about? That's it? Okay.
That's it, thank you.
All right, supervisors' comments. Janice, want to go first?
I'd be happy to.
right.
I think we got a lot accomplished today. It was nice to have everybody out and get a lot of feedback from everybody, and we'll be looking into these different things that you've brought to our attention. We're here to work for you, like we said, and it's nice to hear from you guys and be able to get the information that you need to have. So thank you for coming out. It's nice to see people in person. So everybody, first Thursday of the month, 7 o'clock, come on out.
Chuck?
Yes, I'd also like to thank the Township and Parks and Rec and about the Perini tournament. This was my daughter's 8th year. This is her last year, under 16. Next year, it's under 16 and under are the age groups for boys and girls. And the boys on Saturday, the girls on Sunday, and the police, the parking, everything was very smooth, beautiful day. The food trucks, I mean, I was there all day Sunday to get a little burnt. But it was, the fields are in excellent condition, like Scott said. It's a great testament of our Parks and Recs and what our township does here. And people from all over really enjoyed it and had a great time. And just wanted to bring that up, that there's a lot of, every available field in Warminster is being used.
Great
Willowdale, Tenet, the Monroe, and Warminster Park. All
Isn't that
get
nice to see? It really
Love
is.
College. And Love
Yeah,
College.
all of them, they're all being used.
Yes.
You know, the fields are in great shape. People come over for the playground, no matter what it is in the park. And so many folks, they may not even live in this township, and they comment what beautiful parks we have. And we should be really appreciative of that, because it is a diamond, a rough in our township. It is one of the most beautiful. Diamond in the rough, that's what it is, Judy. I got it. Diamond in the rough.
Well,
it's so beautiful.
Actually, it's just a diamond.
It's
Not
just a
even-
diamond now, there's no rough.
It's a diamond, okay, it sparkles, it's beautiful. So, thank you. Also, want to thank all of our public works that do like a really great job over at the parks.
And the Warminster Soccer Club does a great job organizing it, and it's really run very, very smooth. I mean, they do a great job.
Thank
The
you very
coaches
much.
and the,
Just saying.
all
I'm sure.
volunteer work, so.
Judy?
Well, I just want to thank you for a really productive meeting and how almost everybody was polite. It was really nice, and we'll have a nice September, and thank you for coming out.
Ken?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to remind everybody that schools are open. Please, we've been having a lot of accidents with fatalities. Please obey the speed limits and watch kids. There's a lot of buses, don't go by a school bus, and just do the speed limit. Take a breath. You don't have to get there. You're going to get there 3 seconds early, so does it really matter if you do 45 or 25 in the speed? That doesn't get you there any faster unless you're going across the country. So, and the other thing, Madam Chair, I'd like to say it's been the first time in a long time I've been called a punk. So, I don't know how to take that.
Turn that into a gift.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Okay. I want to thank all of our staff, our professionals, our employees, fellow supervisors. This was a very, very productive meeting. We got a lot accomplished. We're doing what we need to do to keep the keep the township growing and not to sink us again into bankruptcy. So I think that we're making excellent improvements in the township in addition to handling our finances. So all in all, great job, everyone. Thank you very much. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We'll see you at Warminster Day.
Yeah, see you Warminster Day.